Now, brands are very important in the world today because everybody say, every time you hear somebody say something, they got a brand, right? Brand this, brand that, who got a brand, what's the brand about? So this workshop is really geared towards people understanding the difference between a brand and a personal brand. Because you can have a personal brand and not have a major brand. But you can have a personal brand that can be a major brand. And understanding this can help you with your career, with your business, pretty much anything that you want to do in business. Okay? So we got to start with the word brand first, right? Because you can't just go into being personal if you don't know what a brand is. So, what do y'all think a brand is?
Your identity.
Your identity? Okay. Ma'am?
What people know you for, what,
Yeah. So people know you for?
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. Taylor?
I can't. Basically the same thing, like what everyone else said, what you're known for, and basically, yeah,
Helpful, right? So, right? So you look up at the screen, right? You see all of these are brands you've seen before, right? All right. So you know what the green. You see the lady with the green and white. Who's that? Starbucks, right? A mermaid. Yeah, it is a mermaid. That is true.
Oh, the mermaid?
Yeah.
You learn something every day.
Yeah. But you say it's what?
Starbucks lady.
Now, see how powerful a brand is? You don't see Starbucks names up there, but you've seen what? The visual side of the brand, so you can identify it with it immediately. So you're like, man, that's the Starbucks brand. Now, what is Starbucks known for?
Coffee.
Huh?
Coffee.
Coffee, right? So, what other brands you up there familiar with?
All of them.
All of them?
Oh, wait, no.
Which one you don't know?
What I don't know?
Yeah, one you don't know.
What's that? The second row. The orange phone. What's the orange phone?
That's from some video game. I forget which one it is.
Okay, see, I don't know that one.
Yeah, I forget what that one was myself. That's being totally honest. But let's talk about where brands came from, right? So there was a time where you had a lot of businesses. They used to have these things called open market. So you know how like a farmer's market? You would just go in and you got people with crates and all this stuff, right? And you didn't know who had good product and who had bad product unless you know that person, right? So say for instance, one of the reasons brands came about is because during the time in America, when people were like immigrating to America, people used soap for everything. But it wasn't like the soap that you know today, right? It was one bar of soap and it was blue. You used that to wash your clothes, to wash your body, to clean your house. This was super soap. You did everything with soap, right? There wasn't no such thing as Ajax. So you wouldn't have dishwashing liquid, right? It wasn't no Tide, so you didn't have laundry detergent, right? There wasn't no Dawson. And none of that, right? But see, the thing was, you had some people that sold good soap and some people that sold bad soap, right? So this company called Procter & Gamble, known as P&G, came up with this idea to create the first logo, which is what you see up here, right? These are all logos for brands. This is how you know the brands what they stand for, right? So at that time, most people, because they were immigrants, they couldn't read English and they didn't speak really good English. So logos help them identify what companies had the best product. And Procter & Gamble started that with soap.
Oh, wow.
So now, from there, they was able to start to build a customer base. Because when everybody's seeing the P&G logo, they know that's the people with the good soap, right? So we can trust them with our money, and they're going to have a good product, right? When somebody gives you a good or a bad product, when somebody gives you a bad product, right?
Yeah.
So the name is what we call the brand name, right?
Yeah.
The image is what we call the logo. This is how business is done pretty much all around the world. Anywhere you go, I don't care if you go to South Africa, you go to West London, you go to Brazil. Logos are affiliated with major companies. Because this is how people tell you that we got the product, we got the good service, and we're the people that you can trust to spend your money with, right? That's why brands are very important. Now, brands are very different from personal brands, right? Because see, like with this, think about this, right? Let's use Target as an example, right? So you see it happen in the news all the time, right? An executive at Target goes to a party, does something that's not good, right? Target will say, okay, John Johnson, right? They'll make public apology, make a statement, make some charities and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But Target brand name is not John Johnson, right? Now, John is Target, but Target as the brand is still intact. So separation between the company and the people. Now think about that. It's a really big thing. Because one person can't just tear down an organization, right? Because the brand is bigger than everybody in the organization. So this whole concept that we talk about branding is also business side of that. It's very important to understand. So everybody knows what a corporation is, right? So we have different types: limited liability companies, INCs, SPCs, everything, right? But corporations came about as a form of protection too. Brands protect you with products and services, right? And corporations protect you business-wise. So they used to have these things. Remember, in school, I guess one sell and the other, right? So corporations became popular because pirates used to raid ships. Wars happen, all these things happen. So they created this legal entity called a corporation to separate the business assets from the personal assets of the person, right? See, I can own Target, right? I can be like the president CEO of Target, right? Founder. I can have $1 billion corporation. You can sue Target, but you can't just sue me unless you go after me what? A civil suit, right? So now we talk about my personal brand. Emory Brown, founder of Target, may not be totally under attack unless I've done something wrong, right? But I can attack Target and sue Target. So these things are very important to understand about business and brands, right? Because your personal brand and your business brand are two different things, but yet they could be the same thing at the same time. Well, let's talk about this. What's a personal brand here, right? You know, what's a personal brand?
Yours is exclusive. It's your thing exclusive.
Your thing exclusively?
Yeah.
Okay. What you got?
It's your personal brand is what people know or what you're trying to present about yourself personally. It may be what you do personally. It may be how you walk into a room, how you represent your representation precedes you, right? Because you know Target is like Target, right? Because we call it Target because it's like the stuff you love Walmart.
Right.
So people know that instantaneously with that brand.
Right.
So if you have a certain brand, my brand is I'm a dope writer, right? So when people see me perform, that matches my brand. So therefore, if somebody hears me, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, that's Chanel Lane. She's a dope."
There you go, right? So, you got something?
Brand.
Personal brand.
I feel like what she said, like it represents you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And you are correct. Your personal brand is about you, right? So the illustration I use with Target and that guy John Johnson, our fictional guy, right? John is in trouble. Target is not. Everybody's gonna know forever that John Johnson did what he did that got him fired from Target. And that's gonna affect his career, it may affect his relationships and other things in his life because of what he did. With Brand U, you still have the same things that a brand has, right? There's a vision, there's an image, your mission, your values, your vision, right? These four things make Brand U. So we've seen brands in the marketplace. We've seen very powerful personal brands in the marketplace, right? Lawyers are a great example of a personal brand. To your point, right? If I'm one of the top defense attorneys in the United States, you're like, man, that's getting rebranded. Top defense attorney in the United States, right? Now, I could work for a big law firm, Anderson Law, right? That's their bigger brand. Now, Mr. Anderson may have built that brand, or that may be just a brand name, right? People want to know, right? So that means you have a lot of control in regards to your trajectory when you understand how to use your personal brand, right? But these four things are very important. Why do you think your image is important?
So that's what people see. That's the first thing they like. Well, I mean, physically speaking, but also, on the internet stuff like that too. You have to protect, I guess, who you say you are, who your brand is.
Exactly, right? So your image is what people see, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I dress nice, then people know what? You dress nice, right? Hey, but yeah, I brush my teeth in the morning, right? If I'm not dressed nice, I'm dressed poorly, then people like, ugh, he dressed bad, he don't brush his teeth, right?
Right.
That's going to affect how people want to interact with you, how people want to do business with you, right? So in the business space, you got to be very aware of what your image is projecting, that you're projecting people, right? Like certain industries, you do certain things, right? So now think about this. Doctors, a perfect example, right? So as a hip hop guy, it's all right for me to do certain things, right? My bedside, I don't need a bedside manner, right? So now think about it. If I'm trying to think somebody that's like totally oxymoron. Think about it if one of the dog pound gangsters was your doctor, right? Now you can accept the fact that they went to medical school, right? That's cool. But you're dealing with a serious bout of medical condition, right? And your doctor walks in and says, hey, what's up? This is what I'm thinking. We're gonna go ahead and cut that off, do this, do that, and then you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna have a fit, and then I'm gonna come back and check on you, right? You're not gonna be as comfortable with your doctor at that point. You thought it was cool that it was my boy from Dog Pound Gangster, but now he's talking about going to have a fit after he do my surgery or before he do my surgery. Those brands don't go together. Now, Soul Plane was dope, right? If you have not seen Soul Plane, for those who have, right? Soul Plane was kind of dope. But that's a different thing. You want your doctor to have a particular type of decorum when they're dealing with your health issues, right? So that would not be a good personal brand. Like, look, Dad, you cool, but I'm not interested in you being my doctor. Not because he's a bad guy, because you're looking for a particular type of brand that goes with the medical industry, right? If we talking about we at the club kicking it, then that's cool. But if you talking about dealing with my health condition, I need you to have a particular type of decorum, professionalism, and everything that goes with a brand of being a doctor, a physician, right? When somebody not acting like a doctor and they don't present that image of a doctor to you, you're not gonna think their brand is what? It ain't real and a value, right? What she said, no value. I can deal with you like that, right? So let's talk about the mission. What is your mission?
The message.
Mission is right. What you are ultimately trying to get to. So usually, like when you do like a mission statement, it is like this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing, where we're going, and the goal.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so what's your vision?
Your vision is how you see things once you either have how you see it going or how you see it when you should get.
Okay, so now mission and vision are very close, right? Sometimes people get mixed up, right? So let's just talk about for your personal thing, right? So your vision is end goal, where I want to go to, where I want to be at the end of the day, right? So if your vision is I want to be the top entrepreneur in the healthcare industry, right? That's where you want to. That's where you want to end up at, right? Your mission about what you do every day to get there, right? Your mission may be, okay, my mission is to help children from underserved communities who do not have access to medical equipment and resources, right? But your vision is to become the top entrepreneur in the medical, right? Now, your kids are part of that, but your mission really talks about what you're doing every day to get there, right? So I'm gonna actually share with you, I'm gonna show you from a brand perspective, from how our mission looks at osmosis, how our vision looks at osmosis, to paint a clear picture of you of why these two things are important when you're building your personal brand. So yeah, our mission and our vision is right here, right? So when you look at our vision, it says what? To become Chicago's premier design education initiative, dedicated to ensuring design inclusion in all realms of design. It goes into the ones that we want to pursue, right? Industrial design, graphic design, interior design, multimedia design, fashion design, architecture, urban design, and app design. And it's pretty much more design stuff, but we had to stop eventually, right? When you listen to our mission, it's really talking about the work we do, right? So we tell you what we're envisioning for the organization, but our mission actually tells you about the work. The mission of Project Osmosis is to create programs and initiatives that identify, develop, and support young people from minority communities with demonstrated abilities and skills in the applied arts. Through these efforts, our intention is to increase the influence and presence of art and design professionals from minority communities while expanding the reach of artistic expression for all people. Our ultimate goal is to develop an interdependent exchange of artists' cultural expression that includes and values the contributions of artists from all communities, regardless of race, gender, or socioeconomic status. For art and design, in its highest and purest form, must be without barriers, borders, or boundaries, right? Now you see the two clear, distinct things we have there, right? You see what we want to become, that's our vision, and you see what we're doing every day. That's our mission, right? And you have to have the same thing for your own brand. It's very important because, like they say in scripture, my people will perish without a vision. If you don't see where you're going or try to determine where you're going, you may not know every step of the way, right? Because you don't know what type of opportunities and what blessings gonna come for you, what doors gonna open for you. Nobody knows that, but you got to start walking somewhere. You got to start walking in some direction, and that's why it's important for you to set your vision and also understand what you're doing every day as a mission to get there, right? So we talk about church, right? People do what? They have missionaries, right? We go on somewhere with the mission to do what? Get something done. That's what your mission's about, right? The vision is where you want to end up ultimately. Make sense? Okay. So now let's talk about these other two. This last one, right? What are your values about?
What you believe?
What you believe? Okay. Anybody else?
Your values are what characteristics that you exhibit.
Okay.
So your values can be how you're valuable to someone. Meaning you're trustworthy, meaning you're smart, meaning you're a hard worker, So that is kind of like what you have for, like you said, okay, I'm mad. So I report, right?
Okay.
So that's my image. Thank you. So my vision is that I want to be one of the top 10 poets on the worldwide scale, right?
Okay.
That's my vision.
Right.
So my mission is that I will write,
Mhm.
perform,
Mhm.
and teach poetry on an escalating scale from neighborhood to city to state to part, what is it, section, whatever, quadrant, you know,
Okay,
Midwest,
Yeah.
and then nation, right?
Right.
And then spread on. So while I'm doing that, I promise to be professional.
Mhm.
I promise to give you authentic work. I promise to perform with my full heart. I promise to carry a positive message that is in correlation to whatever the event is, you know.
I got you.
So those are my values.
Right.
That's what I'm bringing to the
Same.
table with how.
Exactly. Right. So as you see, right, she talked about what she's going to bring to the table, what she's going to deliver in life, what her real values. Now, but why do you think it's important to identify your values though, as you looking at your brand, right? Because everybody don't have good values. So why is it important for you to identify those values?
Have something to stand on, somebody try to change the idea.
Exactly, right? Because if you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, right? Your values are very important because a lot of people don't have them. What do you stand for? Money. What else? Money. What else? Money. And then when money show up in its various forms, you just gonna take the money, right? Even though it may come in a dirty form, if you just about making money, right? So you understand your values is very important. Good.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add, also in your values, you should also include things that you stand for that are clear. Such as, I'm not gonna perform a racist piece. I'm not gonna perform
Exactly.
something that compromises
My character.
my character, what I believe and what I think.
Exactly. Amen. Exactly. That right there, right? So now, when you look at this, right, you have people all the time in business who compromise their values for things that they perceive are more valuable than their own self-worth, right? So a perfect example of this is a young man named Jeff Boski. Jeff Boski is one of the top ad guys in the mid 2000s, like between 2008 to like 2016. He was a really top. They had a big agency in Florida, right? So they had Miller, they had Burger King, they had Pepsi, they had all these. They actually remember Burger King came back, they had chicken fries and all this crazy stuff. They was making all this crazy stuff up, right? So these boys had money because they had all the top companies wanting their work. Now, one of their companies that was one of their top companies was Coca-Cola, right? And in a what's a magazine called Fast Company, Jeff was talking about why he left the advertising agency, right? Why he left the industry. Like, I'm not on an agency no more. I'm going to go home and want to do different things, right? So now, Jeff is $1 billion man, right? With $1 billion team. So you go to these big conferences, you have this conversation, you talk about the business, what your strategy, what your creative, what your communications. But he was at this one conference and he started to talk about Coke. But at home, he wanted to give his kids Coca-Cola products. We won't give them pop at all. Nothing. They didn't drink any of that stuff, right?
You said that you don't give
Him and his friends that believe in Coke or soda water, period, pop. They know the dangers of it. They know the health dangers of it and everything. So they will give it to their own children, right? So he said he's at this conference. He get ready to open his mouth. And he said he heard his soul disconnect from his mouth. His soul disconnected from his mouth. Right? Basically, you know he's lying. When your soul disconnected from your mouth, that means the devil took your mouth and your soul. Everything gone, right? Because you ain't telling the truth no more. Because if your heart is disconnected from your mouth, like I said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? So that means he lied. At that point, he knew he had to change his career. He had to change his life because now he's compromised his values, right? You give the kids all around the world something that you won't give your kids so you can make money, right? You and your wife are having all these conversations with your friends about let's be healthy, let's be clean, let's be green, and all these things. But you got pop cans is being thrown in the ocean. Plastic bottles is being left in landfills. All these things that you say you are against, you're doing it every day so you can make money, right? So he had to leave because he wasn't living his truth. Because he wanted to make that money, he compromised his values, right? The advertising agency industry was just sick when he left. This is one of our top creators, right? I mean, the guy was so good, right? When I was working on Miller, they had something called an agency review. So the agency review, the client makes all the agencies come and present their work. We were one of Miller teams, right? Jeff and his guys didn't have to present no work. I spent 2 weeks getting together, agency reel, everything, right? Jeff and them sitting in Florida chilling, waiting on their all agency review. Now that goes to show you how good this young man was, right? But when the opportunity came, he didn't choose his values at first. He chose the money,
Right.
which ultimately made him go back to being real with himself. And so I can't be doing this to other people's kids, and I'm not gonna do it to my kids. Because that's just wrong, right? We're gonna take advantage of you because you don't know the bad things about stuff, the side effects about stuff, the ways actually hurting the actual environment. But I'm gonna sit in my house, my wife, my friends, my kids, and talk about how I love y'all, and we ain't gonna never do this, right? This happens all the time, right? So when you look at other people, what people will say like they compromise their values, right? Let's go into this next one. I know you have to listen. So let's talk about the power of having a personal brand. That's your alarm saying, wake up, get up, it's time.
Time for me to take my medicine.
Okay.
But
So-
I didn't know this phone was on. I apologize.
It's all right, I'm gonna play this. It's live class, okay, things happen. That's just a phone, that's a phone, it ain't a fire alarm, so we good. But when you look at this, what's the power of having a personal brand?
It'll set you apart from peers.
Okay,
People can identify you.
right, okay. You got anything?
You get like an LLC, right? That's the power of it.
I mean, anybody get LLC, you can have that personal brand LLC, you just, good.
I think that the reason why you should have a personal brand is because I believe before you can do anything else, you have to get yourself straight.
Mm-hmm.
So when you create a personal brand for yourself, it helps you further decide or do things in your life,
Okay.
especially because you know where you're trying to go.
Mhm.
You know how you want to get there.
Mhm.
You know what you bring to the table and what you will not stand for. So that distinguish, okay, is this coming? Okay, I know that's not good for me because it's going to destroy me from where I'm trying to go.
Mhm.
So maybe I shouldn't do that. I said I wasn't going to do nothing like this, so let me stick to my personal brand. And then therefore the personal brand, just like the company brand, your brand will show who you are and your reputation. No,
Patient.
Reputation, yes, your reputation will succeed.
There you go, right? There you go. So now, that's a very big thing to think about, right? Because remember, it's about you with a personal brand. How people perceive you, how you do this, how you do things in the marketplace, right? So, okay. Here, we go. Okay, there you go. So we're gonna talk about some of the personal brands in Chicago. So who are some famous personal brands you know?
Personal brand, like people,
People, yeah.
I work at a business, she got a personal brand.
Okay.
She goes, her name is Asia Kareem,
Mhm.
and her brand is Asia Kareem the brand.
Okay, gotcha. Anybody else?
I have two, but I'll pick one. My sister,
Okay,
her name is Natalie, she goes by Natalie.
okay.
Her personal brand is basically in her business and her organization. She brings her personal brand to the table. She's all about creating representation for melanated beings through media.
Okay, I like the melanated beans.
Yeah, her business is Melanated in America.
Okay, gotcha.
So she went to school.
Mhm.
I'm happy that I inspired her. She her first time acting was in a play I wrote.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, I learned that like recently. She was like, "Yeah, that's what kicked it off."
So
But
that's like me contribution.
but she went to school. She went to Northern University. She majored in theater
Okay.
and costume design. She learned all the background stuff as well as acting. Then she came out of that. I found a program for her when she was in high school called Teen Talk Radio from the Fake Myers and Oral Ronnie, who are also two heavy beings in the game.
Okay.
Without Oral Ronnie, he just got a book called When Blackness Was Golden, but he was the mentor that got Robert Townsend into acting,
Gotcha.
which caused him to write. He taught him that. But anyway,
Okay.
so that's my sister. So she did all of the schooling and everything. She went back after she graduated from Northern to the Teen Talk program, and she started teaching.
Oh, cool.
And she is Black students, so she would teach them about like theater, but she would tell them like bring your representation. So it wasn't like reading classic, you know. And
Yeah,
shit like
Shakespeare
that.
and things like that.
Yeah, you know, and so then she
Taking
took it
real
from
stories.
there. Exactly. She took it from there and started teaching at school. Then she created Melanated in America, which I worked the web series for. And then now she has Melanated in America company.
Okay.
And what they do is she's done documentaries about Black stories. She's a Chicago historian. And she created the Healing Academy, which is her nonprofit, which is a school.
Okay.
And the school focuses on different pillars, but it's all Afrocentric filtered. And it teaches everybody from babies all the way through adulthood.
This is doing a thing, like, yeah.
So, you know, all that goes into her personal brand.
Mhm.
When she has the businesses, like the Healing Academy is about education.
Because these are all things that she back.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, you know, I try to teach her a little something.
You put a little hot sauce on. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'm gonna show you a few people outside the people that you personally know.
Mhm.
So we can talk about, you know, this brand thing in a bigger way, right? So here's a few people here, right? So now, each one of these people are a personal brand, but they're big within the industries in which they work for, right? Lori Lightfoot, we're in Chicago, right? Chance the Rapper, independent rapper, right? Michael Jordan, the guy with the glasses, Leo Burnett, he started one of the largest international advertising agencies right here in Chicago. Then you got Oprah, Harpo Studios, right? Then you have can't think of the old man name. Oscar Ebert, yeah.
Roger.
Robert Eger, right? Big film critic, right? And then Jeff Greco, big news person, right? Now, and also Hillary Clinton, right? So now notice, these people are associated with companies or have their own companies, but their personal brands are huge, right? Leo Burnett started off as a writer, writing ads. He's writing for different car companies and things like that. He created the Jolly Dream Giant. He created Tony the Tiger. All these things that we grew up watching, his age, he created these things in the 50s and the 60s, right? And they're still huge brands almost 70 years later. The thing about the power in that, right? His brand is so known around the world that his company logo is his name, Leo Burnett, and a pink. Leo Burnett will forever be ingrained in history, in advertising and marketing history, as one of the greatest of all times, right? But that's his personal brand. That's him as a writer, an advertiser, communicator saying, I'm going to be the best at what this thing that I do, right? Then you have Michael Jordan, right? When you say Michael Jordan, do we think about the Chicago Bulls automatically? Michael Jordan is bigger than the Bulls, right? That's the power of having a personal brand. His shoe today, till this day, is still the number one selling shoe at Nike. How long you been retired? Ever, right? You got Jordans from 1980 that are selling for $700 a pair right now online and more. Michael Jordan didn't touch the basketball, and God knows when. Michael Jordan's so big, his son can play ball, but we still talking about Michael Jordan. Think about that, right? He got the Jordan brand. He still got the Air Jordan brand. He has numbers of businesses. He got Michael Jordan Motorsports and all types of stuff, right? But he is a huge personal brand. He'll forever be a staple in basketball history. When you look at Oprah Winfrey, right? What do we know her by? Her name. We just say Oprah. Oh, everybody knows who it is, right? She's bigger than Harpo Studios. She's bigger than which is her own network, right? Own magazine, everything. Oprah can come in here and say, give her a job. They ain't even gonna ask Oprah. Just give her a job. How much I pay her? Give her $100,000. Okay, Oprah. And that's it. You could be a powerhouse in the industry without ever owning a company. You don't have to be the CEO. You have to be the CFO. You just need to be good at what you do. Right? Remember, I talked about that. America, we got products and services. You either sell it or you buy it. And in your career, your personal brand is a really big part of what you sell people. Right? People have to understand what you're bringing to the table. What the value are you bringing to the company, right? You don't ever have to sit on the NASDAQ to be a millionaire. You don't have to buy any stock to be a millionaire, right? But you could be one of the best videographers in the medical industry or in the hotel industry. And people in that industry, like, man, when it comes to hotel photography, this guy or this girl, they get this. If you got a new hotel and you want your stuff shot or videographed or filmed, this is who you call, right? And you're as big as hotel as somebody as big as fashion photography, right? So your personal brand, you have to understand, is very, very important because people are looking at what they pay for. People are buying you and what you deliver in regards to the product or the service that you provide. Most people think like, okay, man, if I don't have this title, I can't be great. Titles don't make you great. Men and women make titles great, right? I can call you whatever, but if you ain't got the sauce, guess what? It's just a name, right? So you got to understand, you have power. How are you going to use your power, right? What is your vision going to be? What is your mission going to be, right? What are your values? these things are important because this is going to position you in your personal life and also in your business life for how people perceive you and what you have to offer. A lot of people don't make it because they don't understand the power of you. When you go into interview, who goes? You, right? When they send a check in 2 weeks, who they give it to? You, right? When they look for somebody to promote and they say, we want to promote you. That's because you're doing everything every day to make sure that you are delivering a great product and service and that you're a great brand. LeBron James is the first athlete to get $1 billion deal. Endorsement deal from Nike, right? But that's because of who he is. LeBron James $1 billion, right? You're not gonna just give $1 billion to just anybody, right? Because I mean, we got plenty of athletes out there. So why would I give LeBron James $1 billion? Because he has a very strong brand, right? People respect him because the way he handles his family life. People respect the way he play on the court. People respect the things LeBron does in the community. This boy building high schools and all types of stuff, right? Starting new businesses and everything, right? They're looking at LeBron like, if we gonna spend some money like this, the boy already selling shoes like crazy, right? They don't need him to do anything. All you do is play ball and sell shoes, right? But they said, we're gonna make an investment in this overall man. Because this is the type of man we want to represent the Nike brand, right? And to carry a legacy of what the youth are seeing and what Nike stands for. So they estimated like, because if I gave you $1 billion, right? How much you think I'm gonna make? Well, that's an understatement, right? They looking at him like, okay, Jordan, LeBron. Jordan didn't even get $1 billion endorsement deal. But Jordan was kind of scandalous though. Mike was in these streets, right? Mike was living his life. So yeah. You can't knock the man hustle, right? Everybody do what they do. Kobe ain't get $1 billion deal. Kobe was in these streets. Tiger could have got one. These streets. So they looked at the character of the man, his values, right? What he stood for, what he's about, everything. Like, you know something? We like you. And we're going to give you $1 billion because we want you to represent the Nike brand and to set a precedence of what a young man can do in sports, in community, and in family. They gave him $1 billion, right? And he wasn't even doing it to get it. He just being himself. This is how I want to live my life. This is who I want to be. This is the type of man I want to be, right? And he got what? Called a blessing. He quit tomorrow if he wanted to. He ain't got to do no more ball playing. He just enjoy himself, right? That's what it comes down to. So understanding that you have power to do what you want to do with your life, have an impact in your community, have an impact in the world, it's all on you. No one can take that from you. Now, people may try to hinder you, right? People be mad at you because, well, how you get to do that? You may not have taken the opportunities that I had. You may not have took the class that I took. You may not have the mentor that I had. Mm-hmm. All the things that line up in my life may not be a part of your journey. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a powerful story too. Mm-hmm. But it got to be based on you. Nobody else, right? I'm teaching the class right now, right? You got 3 babies right here, right? They may wake up 15 years from now like, I want me a big personal brand, right? Next thing I know, I read Wall Street Journal 15 years later. She's sitting on the NASDAQ, chilling. I mean, this is true. This stuff can happen. You'd be surprised how many people have met somebody, have a conversation with somebody, and help set the trajectory for their career. There's a young lady right now who's a lawyer because one of the I forgot what district it is, but she's a Hispanic lady. She used to go around to different schools and talk to kids about law. This girl met this woman, went to her office, and told her, "You came to my class when I was 5 years old, and today I'm a lawyer." Right? That's called casting vision. Right? You never know what a person wants to do. But that's why it's important the work that we're doing at Osmosis, like I told you earlier, right? We don't always have these professionals sitting next door. Because in most cases, when you get too prestigious, we start making too much money, people start looking at you sideways, and you know I can't live here no more. And it's not because you want to move, people acting funny towards you, right? Oh, you think you better than somebody. You big headed. This that. Bro, it's a BMW. Frankie and them got one too. Why am I so important, right? Oh, okay, I'm not in my bag. I ain't trapping no more. So now I'm bougie. I'm big headed. I got all these issues, right? But had I got it with that other type, you wouldn't have nothing to say to me. I'm cool, right? But now you don't want me to be around because you feel like I went to another sector, but it's just a job, bro. You clowning over a job, right? This is a job. That's all it is, right? I can see you a little mad, like, well, I was reading Wall Street Journal this morning. He was on the front page. Heard Nike bought your company for $100 million. Okay, then get salty, right? I can give you a little salt on that, right? But you mad because I got a job? Bro, these people who paying me got more money than everybody. But you're not down at Nike sneering at nobody. You ain't gonna show up on the campus. It's crazy. We got 2 minutes? Okay, cool. So with that being said, did you bring those articles upstairs? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I want to share something with you. We're not going to be able to go through it. There you go. You should know that class. It's a small excerpt from a book called Make It Happen. The book was written by Mr. Kevin Liles. Kevin Liles is now the owner of 300 Entertainment, who manages Megan Stallions and some other people. But when he wrote this book, he was a vice president at Def Jam. He went from being an intern at Def Jam to becoming a vice president at Def Jam. And this book is called The Hip Hop Guide to Success, right? Make It Happen. Hip Hop Guide to Success. Success written by Kevin Liles. Now, the great thing about this segment of the book is really talking to you about the importance of doing you. You can't do you better. You do you better than anybody else, right? If you stay focused on doing what your vision is, your mission is, what you value, things like that, you will become successful at what you want to do. You just have to have your own personal commitment. So when you get a chance, read this. And if you want, if you want the book, I would recommend just go buy the book. It's a really good read. It's a lot of different rules to success. Read from somebody who's lived in the culture, right? Where you from, who understands some of the dynamics and the challenges that you may have as you transition into other work cultures that may not be nothing like you experienced before. Professionalism goes across the board, right? They say they do business in one way, right? For a simple fact, we can all do it together. So as you go into your careers or transition into new ones, make sure that you understand what your vision is, what your mission is, what your value is, and more importantly, how you present yourself to the world with your image. Because that's you. And you can always be successful doing it. So thank you for your time. Thank you. So I will see y'all the way possible to do it. So we kick it and do some other things.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
What's your name?
Emery Brown. Yeah.
Here, Emery Brown.
Yes, ma'am. What you got for me?
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama Carter. So you do poetry